right, Page Search Society, I've got some great news for you. Last week I caught wind of the fact that Google was releasing some new data and information that would be available through your dashboard around quality scores. And when I first heard the news, I said, this is amazing stuff. It's about time. Very excited. Can't wait to share it with the community. And I still feel that way, although with a little bit of a tempered expectation. So before we get into it, let's read straight from Google what they're doing. So as we know, quality score is an aggregate estimate of how well a keyword has performed overall in past auctions. Based on this data, each of the keywords gets a quality score on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest. Sometimes they don't show 1, and that just usually means that there's not enough data. And historically speaking, we've just had access to just the quality score at its present moment that you're choosing, or whatever that time period is that you're selecting when you're looking up some sort of data range. But it might be a week, it might be a month, it might be 6 months, whatever it is. It's just there, they give you a score, and that's it. Not really much other information available. One of the drawbacks to this is if you are trying to improve your keyword quality scores, and you have a lot of campaigns especially, or a lot of keywords, it can kind of be a Herculean effort to actually monitor and see which direction these quality scores are moving in. Well, Google last week said that they are now going to add some new information. So what is it? Well, they're adding ad relevance, landing page experience, and expected click-through rate information, which I thought was great. And not only are they giving you a picture, a glimpse into those pieces of information, but they're also going to allow you to see those 4 categories, including your quality score, of course, in the historical sense. So historical quality score, historical ad relevance, historical landing page experience, and historical expected click-through rate. And so before we go into the good and the bad of this, I'm going to put a little summary here as to how you get to that information. So when you log in, select a campaign, go to your keywords tab, okay? Look for your choose columns or the columns, pull that down, go to modify columns, and then you're going to see a tab on the left for a quality score. And if you click that, that will show you the both for present and historical options that you can add to your dashboard if you want to take a look at them. And you'll want to hover over the little help marks just to see information about what historical actually means in practical terms to them, to Google, so that you have a good foundation for what you're looking at and you understand it. But I'll put a little screenshot right around now so that you can see where that information is. Okay, so now that we've covered kind of the what and how, I want to dig into why I'm excited, but at the same time a little bit disappointed in what they're doing. So let's start with where they got this right. Okay, quality score has historically been measured on a 1 to 10 scale. All right, so it's basically a 10-point scale. And this makes it, looking at movement within your quality scores, more granular, right? So if I have a quality score of a 3, I make some changes, it goes to a 5. I know that there's been some improvement, but we've got a lot more work to do. If it goes from a 3 to an 8, I know that that was a very impactful change and that we probably just need some additional massaging. And this information is very powerful and very helpful for improving our quality score and knowing that what we're doing is actually having an effect. All right, so that's awesome. So now we can look at historical quality score. We can see how much we've moved in a given time period based on changes that we've made. Absolutely great stuff. However, this is kind of where the good news ends for the most part. So I'm going to pop a little screenshot here. I'm going to give you a couple seconds to look at it, and I'm going to let you just take a second to see if you can figure out where they went wrong. All right, so there it is. There's your few seconds, and let's see if you see what I see. So in case you missed it, Google decided that instead of a 1 to 10 tiered scale for grading your ad relevance, your landing page experience, and your expected click-through rate, they opted for a 3-tier scale of below average, average, and above average. Now, this information can still be helpful, but in practical terms, what that means is, let's say, for instance, average is a 4 to a 6, okay? And we're currently at a 4, so we're considered average. And we make a change and we go to a 6, but what we're looking at still says average. We don't really know if we've moved the needle in a positive direction and how much. Conversely, if we're at a 6 and it says average and we make a change and for some reason it has an adverse impact and we go to a 4, it still says average. So the granularity of what we're able to measure is severely impacted by the fact that they chose this 3-tier scale. And you know in your heart that Google has a much more specific algorithm. Could be a 1 to 10, it could be whatever, but you know that they're not looking at it just as an average, below average, above average. So in my humble opinion, presenting the information like this was a huge mistake, and I'm I guess more than a little disappointed at Google for doing it. So what can we learn from all this? Well, more information is always better. And I, for one, am very happy to have the additional metrics around quality score, looking at ads, landing pages, and expected CTRs. But I'm very disappointed in the fact that I'm not going to be able to see that granular movement. I'm only going to be able to see significant movement or movement that brings us from one tier to the next based off of where that arbitrary cutoff that Google has that we don't know because they haven't told us. With a 1 to 10 scale, you can kind of see that. With just the 3 scale, you're not really going to be seeing the minute movements. You're only going to be seeing kind of the big movements. So I will use it when it's helpful. I doubt that I will use it as much as the quality score because that 1 to 10 certainly gives me more insight into whether I'm moving in the positive direction or a negative direction. And I find personally that a lot of the changes don't always bring you from a 3 to an 8. Usually it's incremental and you're kind of moving away, you're moving along in the process, getting slightly better quality scores, and then knowing, okay, I have more work to do, or I've kind of, based on what I'm trying to optimize for, etc., I've kind of hit the ceiling, something like that. So if you have some thoughts on the new quality score information, we'd love to hear it. How do you plan to use it? Are you using it? Isn't it working for you? Please comment down below. Share with the community. That's what this is all about. And as soon as we have some more news, we will be back with another podcast.